You are listening to the Barbecue Central Show.
Hey, gang. Want to talk to you real quick about something that's very important when you're buying stuff online. You need to...
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
All right, good evening and welcome to a really big Barbecue Central show. Oh, yes. This is the show that talks about all things important in the world of barbecue and grilling, broadcasting live and direct from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio. It is the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evening. If you want to jump in on the show tonight, more than happy to have you. It's a phone call, 216-220-0966. You can also email the show, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening on the show tonight in case you didn't get the newsletter. A little bit of a logistics switch just because the normal first interview segment of the first month is cutting it a little close. So I want to give a little slack and so forth. So we're going to do a little flippity-floppity-boo. 9:14. Connie's Recipe Corner. Yeah. Right. Thanksgiving was this past Thursday, in case you didn't get the memo. It was a pretty big holiday. One that's been going on for at least 5 or 17 years. Turkey, food, alcoholic beverages. Watch out! Known to get loose, as it won't to, when it do to. So my mom and I will recap the Thanksgiving that we had together, live and in person, if you will. We spent some time down there in Bradenton, Florida, which is just a tad bit north of Sarasota. So very excited and honored to have had a Thanksgiving down there, which has not happened since 97. Also the year I graduated from the Ohio University Bobcats Hall of Fame School, founded in 1804. Don't mess around with those Ohio State people telling you the Ohio State University. What? Get that big stuff out of here. Let the law book show, let the history book show, let every book show that the most important university, getting the job done day in, day out, go through Ohio State University and ask them where they would like to be hanging out during the course of any given weekend, and you goddamn right, it's going to be Athens, Ohio, and Ohio University. That's right. So the first time we've done a Rempe family Thanksgiving, which till years prior had been only what I was accustomed to prior to getting out of college, and then moved away. Dad took a transfer down to Florida, and I stayed up here, and so there's where the Thanksgivings diverged, but just a couple days ago we were able to put it together for the very first time, which could be a new family tradition. You never know. You never know. Let me tell you something. Well, we'll get into that later. All right, so we'll recap the Thanksgiving Rempe holiday as it saw itself a couple days ago with the head executive chef of the family, my mom, for Connie's Recipe Corner. We'll get into some of the traditional stuff that we did on Thursday, but then we got loose a little bit and changed it up on Friday for Leftover Friday, as we are going to start calling it. Leftover Friday, Leftover Thanksgiving Friday, whatever. You weigh in. Tell me what you did for Leftover Thanksgiving Friday. I bet we one-upped you by a fare thee well. All right, and then we'll go to 9:35, which is typically 9:14, which is typically my first guest of every single month, a visit from the good doctor, from the Hall of Famer, Dr. Barbecue Ray Lampe will be joining us at 9:35. A lot of great questions on tap. We'll get Ray's recap of his Thanksgiving, leading into none other than one of the biggest holidays ever, which is politically correct, the holiday season. If you're Jewish, it's Hanukkah. If you're Christian, it's Christmas. And if you're not, it's whatever you're celebrating. It's this time of the year. Whatever that means to you. So we'll look ahead. If you're doing another this is the time of year, by the way, that a lot of people will go back-to-back Jones on the turkey. Thanksgiving turkey, Christmas turkey, 2 in as many months. And once you get the first one out of the way, there's no reason that you should F up the second one, ever. You didn't want to F it up in November. You're damn sure you're not going to F it up in December. Or you're at least not going to try it. And Ray will shed a little bit of light into that as well. And then, of course, we will move on to the second hour, and we will find none other than the creator of 50% of the West Coast offense, the creator of the King of the Smokers competition that will be coming up in just over a week's time, the pitmaster of Big Poppa Smokers, who also happens to have an online presence with the same name, bigpoppasmokers.com. Sterling Ball will be joining us at 10:14. So we'll get perhaps a little recap on his holiday this past Thursday, and we'll look ahead to King of the Smoker, which is coming up in just a few short days, and then we will round it out because it's the holiday season. The holiday season? We'll go ahead and rifle up some type of game show to give away a World Championship Barbecue award-winning prize pack from Sweet Smoke Q Juice, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, 10:35. If you've always fancied to try yourself some of Jim Elser's Sweet Smoke Q Juice, both now, the pork and the beef, you just might be in luck. You just might have to know a little cheese or font or wine or rehab or porn star or athlete. You tell me. It's a who's who of what could potentially be won tonight. So there you go. That's what's on tap for tonight. Connie Rempe, Ray Lampe, Sterling Ball, a giveaway, the likes which we potentially have never seen before. But before we get into any of that, I was off last week, apologize, out of town. Didn't have any backup in action for reasons I will not talk about, for a fact that I might be out of a day job. What? If you're listening or watching the show right now, do me a favor. Go ahead and make a Facebook post or a tweet or do something that says, hey, I'm watching the show. Facebook and audio files might want to follow the link to thebbqcentralshow.com and then pick your player. That's the Audible portion of the show. Right now we have 67 people on the Audible stream. Yeah, that's right. Keep it real, folks. If you like to see me, I can be found on the OutdoorCookingChannel.com, which has been the longtime syndication partner of this show. You can also find it streaming live on YouTube as well. Go to my YouTube page. There it is. YouTube/BREBECUE. Barbecue, the numeral for the letter U. BARBECUE, the numeral for the letter U. That is my YouTube page. right? YouTube.com, barbecue for you. You can also catch the video replays there. Don't forget, if you have the Internet Protocol television, see if they have Outdoor Cooking Channel in the App Store, your particular provider. If they do, download the app instantaneously, and then you can watch the live stream, which is your first option. I'm typically the second option, and then the host of other losers on the channel will be there as well that don't do live shows, except for Chad, which is every now and again. And you will be entertained wildly and frivolity. Not a word. John Dawson, guess what? That is not a word. That's right. Regardless, there is the holiday time of season Outdoor Cooking Channel, which is its own special app, which you get some great stuff here on the on Barbecue Central as well from past shows. So lots to get to tonight. Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Coming up out of the break, Connie's Recipe Corner. But first, let me talk to you about the good folks over at Cook Shack, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Happy holidays from Cook Shack. Need a idea for a great gift for someone special in your life? How about a Cook Shack smoker or pellet grill? Make them a barbecue genius with the easy-to-use smokers and pellet grills now until December 17th. You can save an extra 10% off the list price of any Cook Shack residential smoker, electric smoker, Fast Eddies by Cook Shack FEC 100, pellet-fired smoker or pellet grill, or the models PG 500 and 1000. That's a saving of up to $419. That's right, I said it. Over $400 of savings. The Smokette, the Smokette Elite, the Super Smoker Elite, and the AmeriQ are the electric smokers that make it easy to add real wood smoke to your foods. They are inexpensive to operate, energy efficient. The PG 1000 and 500 pellet grills feature 4-zone cooking and pellet broil technology. They are solidly built with commercial-grade quality. The FEC 100 is the choice of many championship barbecue teams and is guaranteed to hold enough barbecue for all your friends and family. All Cook Shack products come with a no-risk 30-day money-back guarantee. To order online, just use promo code HOHOHO14. Get it? 3 hoes and a 14. We're not talking about back action alley stuff, folks. No gangsta stuff. HOHOHO, HOHOHO14 when you check out at cookshack.com or call Cook Shack at 800-423-0698. That's 800-423-0698, and tell their friendly sales staff you'll want the HOHOHO14 deal you heard about on the Barbecue Central show. With a Cook Shack smoker or pellet grill, you can celebrate barbecue every day. Hurry, because this deal ends Wednesday, December 17th. We still have a little time. I'll mention it next week as well. From all the Cook Shack folks, happy holidays. The contact information one more time. Promo code HOHOHO, the numerals 1 and 4, HOHOHO14. Call them 800-423-0698 or visit them online, cookshack.com, and use promo code HOHOHO14. Connie's Recipe Corner coming up out of the break. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. 216-220-0966. Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. Your 2 ways to get in touch with the show should you see fit. Coming up at 9:35, Dr. Barbecue Ray Lampe for his Ask Dr. Barbecue segment. You can tune in for that. But first, a frequent guest to this show. You know her best for Connie's Recipe Corner. Let's race over to the hotline and welcome in none other than my mommy. Connie Rempe joining me here on the show. Mommy, how are you?
Very good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Let me tell you something. Nothing ever the more weird than to peer over your left shoulder and see me in the TV set right there. That's weird.
I know. How about that?
Hey, how about that? Is that paused or live?
That is paused.
Oh, it is?
Or it's, well, no, it's just muted.
Oh, it's just mute. All right, great.
Yeah.
So now I can actually see how much time is between me talking and when the regular studio audio or the regular studio audience sees it on the Roku.
Absolutely.
The delay is much less severe than you would normally see it on the audio stream than you would see it on the video stream. You just popped up on the video stream, by the way. All right, so maybe you didn't know, but, a week's time ago, I was at your house. Remember that?
I do. That's
Wow,
crazy.
that was
And now you're back up north in the snow.
Oh, here we go with the snow. Great. Rub it in.
Sorry.
So we had Thanksgiving, and I was just saying at the top of the open that this past Thursday was the first, I guess what I would classify as a Rempe Thanksgiving since 1996? 7? Well, probably not. Well, it had to have been 97, I guess, right? That was my last year, and wait, no. 97. I graduated in 1996. Right? Had to have been 1996.
Moved down here in 97.
Yes,
so.
I graduated in 97, the summer of 97 from Ohio University, and that was it. So it had to have been 97. Oh, it was even longer than I thought. By a year. Wow. Crazy.
But we had one up at your house. Recall?
Yeah, but that doesn't count.
Oh, okay. All right. Never mind.
Yes, I do recall that. That was, well, I don't remember what year that was.
I don't either.
It was so great, I forgot it.
Well, it was great. We just don't have to remember the year.
Yeah, that's right. So, but I mean, as far as like, us get, yeah, well, that's completely blown up my hypothesis. Let's restart the segment, and don't mention that for crying out loud.
Okay, never mind.
So, aside from that one in Cleveland,
Yes.
since '96, this was the first time that everybody's my immediate family's gotten together, and we were down in Florida for Thanksgiving,
Yes.
which has never happened.
I know.
Not even once.
I think that's sad.
Yeah, I know. Well, so here we go. We've changed it up a little bit. We've broken the cycle of non-excellence.
Yes.
And gotten down there for a Thanksgiving. And so I guess on the day of Thanksgiving, libations, TV parades, hot tubbing, libations,
More libations.
hot tubbing, so
Yes.
forth. Yeah, because it's pretty nice down there.
It was
Compared
very
to
nice.
most of the places that I would normally be, which is Cleveland, this time of year. If you could lay out the normal fare that we had Thursday.
Pretty
turkey.
much the traditional
Yeah.
layout.
Right,
We
turkey.
did the turkey,
Yep.
the stuffing,
Right.
mashed potatoes, gravy,
Gravy.
green bean casserole.
Yes.
We had corn,
Corn.
squash,
Wash.
2 types of rolls.
Yes, the brown and serve and the extra fancy.
Yes. Yep. I think that cranberry relish, the jelly, and the relish, homemade. I think that might have just been it.
All right, so a couple different things. Everybody's stuffing is different. And for, the last 17 years, 18 years, I've been used to one type of stuffing on Thanksgiving, and then we come back. Now, obviously, all the years prior to that, I had been used to your Connie. Wait, hold on a second here. What? Oh, no, never mind. I had been used to Connie Recipe Corner stuffing.
Yes.
So, and then we got to have that again this year, which typically I wouldn't normally get to eat. So, how do you make it? Like, what's your stuffing recipe?
Okay, I use stale bread. We have sautéed onions and celery.
Yes.
Sauté that in probably a stick of butter.
Ooh.
I take my giblets from the turkey and the neck and boil that on the stove. So I use that liquid as the to wet the stuffing. We saute a pound of Jimmy Dean's a mild breakfast sausage.
Yeah.
And put that in with the bread and poultry seasoning, salt and pepper, and basically that is it.
Now, if you are any fan of this show, we talk about stuffing, to stuff the turkey, to not stuff the turkey. Meathead, always talking about don't stuff the turkey or safety or whatever. If you're going to So, what are you a fan of stuffing the turkey or not stuffing the turkey? Obviously, this is a leading question because I was there, but go ahead.
Because
Yeah.
I stuffed the turkey.
Suck it, meathead. Suck it.
I haven't killed anybody yet, and I've been stuffing the turkey for at least 35 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. So now, and you don't do any other stuffing like outside, like in a pan or in muffin tins or anything like that. It's just the day of, you just cram it all in the bird, and if you die, you die. If not, you don't.
That's right.
Yeah. Now,
Yes.
Are you taking temperature of the stuffing or anything like that, or are you just years of experience tell you that when it's safe, it's safe?
I pretty much take the temperature, but by the time, the bird is done, usually the stuffing is at a safe temperature too. So, that seems to have worked for me over the years, so I'm sticking with it.
Has the stuffing of the bird is something that's been passed down? Like, did Grandma Lapiana used to stuff her turkey with stuffing?
Yes,
Oh.
she stuffed the turkey. She used basically the same stuffing recipe, but without the sausage. The sausage part came into play when I met your father, and the original Grandma Rempe did the sausage in with the stuffing, which was such an incredible improvement. I've never gone back.
Wait a second. I have a father? Yes! When do I get to meet him? Outrageous. Never mind. All right, so the sausage has made it in as the new ingredient over the last 40 years. Oh my God, I'm 40 years old. All right, so the stuffing was phenomenal. The gravy went over to rave reviews. So if you could, just a quick diatribe on the gravy.
Okay, I think the gravy depends a lot on the pan that you use.
Oh.
I have a really heavy duty pan, and the juices that cook in there kind of caramelize too on the bottom of the pan, and then I keep adding some liquid to it, so by the time the bird is really ready, there's quite a bit of juice in there, but it's really gotten dark brown from just cooking for such a long period of time. So when I actually make the gravy, I really don't find that I need to add any, say, bouillon or whatever, any extra flavoring. It comes out really nice. I just add more of the turkey stock, and actually I used cornstarch as a thickener with a little salt and pepper, and that was it. And it comes out really nice.
Oh, yeah, and there's little bits of turkey in there, and it was absolutely phenomenal.
Little turkey, some stuffing, it's great.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely great. All right, so that's when we had your traditional Thursday, and then we went leftover Friday
Yes.
the next day, and we're like, hey, what's one of the funnest segments on the show? And we're like, oh, we love when Sam, the cooking guy, comes on the show. He's crazy, he's drinking, he's 13-time Emmy Award winner. The guy knows what he's talking about.
He does.
And he's like, all right, well, you would recall 2 weeks ago when we had him on, he was talking about stuffing balls. And so we were talking, okay, well, after Thanksgiving, if we have enough stuffing left over, at that point, we didn't know if we would have anything left over, but of course, you always have leftover. So we had plenty of leftover stuffing. We also had plenty of leftover mashed potatoes. And we're like, hey, we're going to make leftover stuffing balls, but we're going to kick it up a notch. We're going to deep fry those sons of bitches. Deep fried stuffing balls. Was this a monumentous development or what?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
All right, so quickly, let's go over how we did the deep fried stuffing balls, which I do have video on that you can see on my Instagram, by the way.
Oh, that should be good because everybody will want to try
They
it.
were phenomenal.
Yes, yes. And basically, I mean, very simple. You're just using the cold stuffing. You're rolling it into small balls, like a little ping pong ball size, dipping it into flour, then an egg wash, and then panko breadcrumbs, and deep frying it. And, they take maybe 5 minutes frying, and they're golden brown and crispy and
Mm.
delicious and very decadent
Yeah.
and should be outlawed in many states.
Yeah,
I'm
and
sure.
they held together so
They held-
well.
Yes, yes.
Now,
they
are you
did.
sticking these like in the freezer for any amount of time, or just like refrigerate, a little bit, or what?
No, they went. As I said, it was initially cold from the refrigerator, and we just rolled it up, and deep fried it right away.
Yep.
And they held together, and they were crispy and
Yes.
fabulous.
Yeah, I mean, by themselves, they were a tasty treat. Heaven forbid you decided that you wanted to dip them into some of that leftover gravy as a dipping sauce, and you had stuffing balls with gravy as a side dip. Oh, so good, right?
That's right. I mean,
Oh,
you want to
so-
add more breadcrumbs
Oh,
to
yeah.
your bread.
Right.
Sure. Why not? What's wrong with that? Nothing.
We were rolling on a high. Stuffing balls were coming out, golden brown. We probably had close to 2 damn dozen
Oh,
of
yeah.
these things. I mean, plenty to go around times 3. Why
Absolutely.
not keep the juggernaut of ideas rolling? Deep fried potatoes. Deep fried mashed potatoes. Forget your French fry bullshit. Let's get stuffing. Or let's get mashed potatoes and do the same thing that we did with the stuffing balls.
And why not? You
Great
figured
idea, right?
the stuffing was so perfectly done
Oh, so good.
that we had all this leftover mashed potatoes. We're going to use the same recipe.
Right.
We're just going to roll those into balls.
Same
Dip them
thing.
into flour, the egg wash.
What
the
happened?
panko breadcrumbs, and we put it into the pan
Yes.
to deep fry.
There it goes.
That first batch came out perfect. It was like,
Beautiful.
this is good. So
We're going to start
we-
deep frying children and pets next.
That's right. Well, and we had so many of the potato balls to fry.
I know.
So we took
Plenty.
that first batch, put them in the oven to stay warm while we're doing the second batch.
Uh-oh.
And we're looking at that pot of bubbling grease that's bubbling higher and higher to the top of the pan. And it's like, what is going on
What
here?
is going on?
It's not browning as fast. They're not browning.
No.
We kind of dipped up a few in the spider, and it's like, these seem to be empty. There is the hull of the crust without the potato.
The
left.
potato has vacated. No.
Oh my goodness, we had to take it off the stove because it was
Getting
precariously
ready to boil over.
boiling to the top.
Oh,
And so we ended up by scooping those out
yes.
and putting them on a pan. And we thought, well, we can finish those in the oven, of which we did.
They were not good.
No,
Well, I
you
mean,
know,
compared to
but-
the ones that were good, they were not
Right.
good. Right.
the first batch came out perfect. The second batch,
No. Not good.
but we did put those in the oven at like 425 degrees and
Yes.
cooked those, and the shell itself was very tasty. As your
Yes.
father ate most of those, they
Right.
were kind of like a panko crisp,
Right.
if you will, without the potato.
Panko fries.
That's right. They were panko fries.
Dietary friendly to every degree.
Exactly. We had a third batch that was actually going to go in and fry again, which the potato mush that had
Oh, it
oozed
ruined
out,
the oil.
it was just kind of
Ugh.
souped into the oil,
Oh.
and there was no more frying capability
No.
left.
That was it.
So, yeah, and we tried to actually then just oven fry those, which didn't really work.
No.
So,
Well, I mean, I thought the idea, the first round of 10, I guess, they
Yeah.
were great.
yes.
And then to see the next round of 30 just leak into
Yeah.
the oil, and we kept trying to figure out, why is this bubbling over? Is there condensation happening and oil and water, and it's bubbling over, and danger, and
yes.
it was all bad. And
Yep.
then to scoop them out and see that the potatoes had vacated and taken shelter inside the hot oil was a slap in the face, for crying out loud. I wanted to eat those deep-fried mashed potato balls all over myself.
And those girls were very unhappy that
I
they weren't getting a
know.
lot of. Yeah, we
That's
all were
right.
unhappy.
Wow.
It was like, whoa.
The good
Now-
news is the stuffing balls saved the day. Thank
That
God.
is true.
Right.
And I think we'll have to ask Sam if he has ever tried the potato balls
Yeah.
instead of just the stuffing balls, and maybe that's why he didn't suggest potato.
Yeah, well, I will have to ask him that. Maybe I will ask Dr. Barbecue Ray Lampe, Hall of Famer, coming up next segment on deep frying mashed potato balls, and see maybe this is something that you have to almost like freeze.
I'm thinking that's the case because I think I had told you I had made my own homemade mozzarella sticks.
Yes, that's right.
Which, yes, and I had put those in wonton wrappers and then and just fried them, and it was like a congealed mess. But then the next time I made it, I froze them and then cooked them, and they were fine. So I'm thinking the potato balls needed to be frozen, possibly.
Well, next time we know for sure what the deal is.
That is true.
Deep fried mashed potato balls will be the call of the evening. And but other than that, everything a raging success, I think, otherwise.
Absolutely.
Both days.
Yes. Yep.
So not
Yep.
just your standard run-of-the-mill turkey sandwich. That's it. We had the open-face hot turkey sandwich with gravy and then all the fried stuff and everything left over. It was, I think Friday might have even been, as far as a culinary success, even better than Thursday, for crying out. We went crazy.
It's my favorite. Leftovers are better.
Yeah, we
so,
went crazy.
Yes.
All right, Connie's Recipe Corner is a show you can find right here on this show. We will try and put together some type of a recipe for the stuffing balls and the mashed potato balls with certain caveats. And it can kind of be like a shared work in progress, I suppose. So if you find a better way, you let us know, and then we can, of course, enjoy that as well and pass it around here on the show. But as always, Mom, thank you for the Thanksgiving that we had Thursday, and as always, thank you for the time on the show tonight.
My pleasure.
All right, thank you very much. There she is.
Bye.
Bye, Mom.
Love you.
Connie Rempe, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you something. There was nobody more pissed than me this past Friday when those mashed potato balls ran out into the grease and left. Rad bastards. A bunch of them. That was such a great idea. All right, now, if you didn't know, Big Poppa Smokers is the one-stop shop for anyone interested in barbecue, featuring a comprehensive selection of all-American-made grills, spices, sauces, accessories, even a kit that gives you everything you need to make a world-class smoker out of a 55-gallon drum. Big Poppa Smokers has made a name for itself by making an award-winning line of championship rubs. Their rubs have won almost every major competition barbecue event, including the 2012 and 13 World Series of Barbecue in Kansas City, the 2012 and 14 Jack Daniels Invitational, 2013 Kingsford Challenge, the 2014 the Houston Livestock and Rodeo, and many more to come this year and next. Big Poppa Smokers has also banded together with fellow California-based barbecue rub company Simply Marvelous Barbecue to form what has now become known as the West Coast Offense. Defying conventional wisdom, these two California-based barbecue rub makers have cornered the market on competitive barbecue and begun to redefine the flavor profile that competitive cooks from across the country have begun to aim for. They've also created two of their unique competitions, King of the Smoker coming up here just shortly, which brings the best of the best in barbecue head-to-head in a back-to-basics competition. The King of the Smoker unique in that contestants may not use any electric devices such as pellet cookers or pit minders. Contestants are just allowed to use charcoal, wood, and their wits to win one of the most high-stakes barbecue competitions around. And, of course, the other one, the Guinea Pig, which is a cost-controlled competition that helps bring in newcomers to the competitive barbecue world. It also features prize distribution all the way down to 10th place in each category, which helps provide incentive to get new competitors into the world of barbecue. On top of all that, BPS created the unique Brand Ambassador Program, the Big Poppa Smokers Elite Team, featuring 15 of the best competition teams of the country working together to promote camaraderie, competition barbecue, and to benefit children's charities across the U.S. Keep in mind that Big Poppa Smokers has been able to do all of this within only 4 years of being in business, turning the competition barbecue world on its head, creating their own unique competitions, becoming a staple in a nationwide restaurant chain, and benefiting children's charities across the U.S. It's just the beginning for Sterling Ball and the folks over at Big Poppa Smokers. The website, bigpoppasmokers.com. That's bigpoppasmokers.com. Ray Lampe coming up out of the break. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Get in the smoke. Call 877-448-0433 to get on the air. Now, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, this portion of the Barbecue Central Show brought to you by cookinpellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. Visit cookinpellets.com. That's with an N at the end, cookinpellets.com for more information or to purchase. Won't void any warranties, relax. Aside from cookinpellets.com, you can also purchase at amazon.com if you'd like to purchase there instead. Chris Becker, the good friends over at cookinpellets.com, highly recommend that you give them a try. If you have the pellet-fired cookers, even if you don't. Don Wadlow weighing in. Tell the lovely and delightful it is nice to see her. Mom, shout out from Don Wadlow. All right. Thanks to Don for writing in and watching. How about this, folks?
If you got questions about barbecue or grilling, maybe as a hobby or even a business, looking to get an expert's point of view, why not ask Dr. Barbecue? You can submit your questions by clicking on the Ask Dr. Barbecue tab on the website. The doctor is in. Here's Ray Lampe with his nurse, Greg Rempe. Dr. Barbecue.
All right, and you know that means it's time for the Hall of Famer, Ray Lampe. Yeah. All right, Ray, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, Greg. How about you?
I'm doing absolutely fabulous. Ray, obviously not the normal confines we would find the doctor, not the normal doctor's office. Where are you running about to now?
A very nice hotel room in Byron, Georgia. On my way to Atlanta for the SEC Championship.
Yes, sir. All right. Not to show my ass in college football, but who is playing in the SEC championship game this year, Ray?
Mizzou and Alabama.
Mizzou,
they're good.
All right. I'll give them props for Alabama, of course. Years and years a formidable opponent in the SEC. Let me ask you something,
all the
Ray.
good teams are on the one division. That's why Mizzou's in.
Yeah, of course. Let me ask you something. You're a football expert. Do you think that let me preface this by saying I'm not a Ohio honk or anything like that, but this is the only college football team that I know with any merit. Do you think if Ohio State jumped down into the SEC that they would be like average at best, or would they just get their asses handed to them, or would they be competitive? What do you think?
Well, they better hope they get in that division with Mizzou.
Watch out! All right, fair enough. Ray Lampe joining us for the monthly Ask Dr. Barbecue segment. If you have a question you would like Ray or I or both to answer, you can submit that to askdrbbq.com, and we will go ahead and give our best efforts to help answer questions that you might have. All right, so let me ask you this, Ray. Thursday this past was Thanksgiving, obviously. Are you a pretty traditional guy when it comes to the Thanksgiving stuff, or did you get outside the box at all? People wondering what Ray Lampe did for a Thanksgiving.
Very traditional. I actually like turkey, so I'm happy to see Thanksgiving come. I cook it on the egg, but I don't add any wood. I just cook it just like it was in the oven. So it gets a little bit of wood roasted flavor, but really not much different. And I buy some extra wings and stuff, so I make a really nice stock in the kitchen. So I have gravy. I don't mess with the gravy, the pan out of the egg. So yeah, it's pretty traditional. Just a little bit of charcoaly flavor, but nothing too exciting.
Ray, let me ask you something. I was down in Bradenton, Florida this past Thanksgiving with the parents, and Friday for leftover Thanksgiving Friday, as we call it. I've just termed that, by the way, leftover Thanksgiving Friday. My mom and I made outrageous deep-fried stuffing balls, which worked phenomenally well. And we had a lot of leftover mashed potatoes, so we said, fuck it. We'll go ahead and deep-fry the mashed potatoes as well. So the first 10 or 15 worked out perfect. The other 30, well, that was a little bit of a different story. Like the potatoes decided to evacuate into the grease for some reason. So I told my mom, I'm like, well, I got Ray Lampe coming on next. This guy is a Hall of Famer. He's going to know the answer. What did we do wrong on the second portion? Should they have gone like right back as we were taking them into the grease? The pan needed to go back into the refrigerator or the freezer while they were cooking. And where did we go wrong?
Yeah, just freeze them because they're going to unfreeze in the deep fryer. And it actually, if they're frozen, you could cook them a little longer and get a little more crust on the outside. So, yeah, if they were sitting out, they just got warm. That's probably why.
All right. Mom, I told you. You ruined it for everybody. Ray confirming that, of course. All right, Ray, let me ask you. We got a good bunch of questions here coming in from the folks that love the Ask Dr. Barbecue segment. First one is coming in from Shane from the Proper Pig Smokehouse. This is a guy around the Cleveland area here. They have a barbecue food truck, so they're kind of doing their thing. And it says, Greg, we have been asked about doing a couple of rib cook-offs this summer, but have no experience cooking ribs for mass amounts of people. So since you are at the Barbecue Universe epicenter, I figured you might know someone who could help me with some friendly advice. Could you, by chance, put me in contact with someone or give me some tips for our first cook-off? I said, hey, Shane, forget about that. I just happen to have a Barbecue Hall of Famer coming up tonight on the show, Ray Lampe. Here's the caveat. There's a small portion of this rib cook-off where they're going to turn in ribs to get judged with everybody else. However, the larger portion is probably going to be ven to make money, so there's probably going to be two different styles of ribs. So, one, the competition rib we can just kind of swipe off to the side here. That's something they're going to have to deal with on their own. The more important thing is cash, right? We all want to make that money. We want to have everybody come to our place to make that money. But when you're vending slabs and slabs and slabs of ribs, what's the best way or what's some of the best advice that you can give somebody getting into that mess?
Well, what we lovingly call rib burn-offs is what you're talking about.
Rib burners.
Technically, it's a cook-off, but it's really about selling ribs. I actually just attended the one in St. Petersburg and got to judge on Sunday. The trick is sell a lot of them. The guys there that are good at this have got huge cookers, and they know how to get the people in line, and they know how to get them out the door. Ribs are expensive. If you cook a bunch of them and don't sell them, it's not going to work out very well. It's risky business going into rib burn-off business. If it rains, you're going to have a rough day. I wouldn't do just one. I would want to do a series of them. So if you get burned on one, you can make it up on the other. And as far as cooking, if you don't have a big smoker, if you don't have a Southern Pride or a couple Southern Prides, or that size smoker, I wouldn't even bother. That's a big business, man. You can get your ass handed to you and lose a bunch of money real fast too. Be careful with that.
Can you, how do I want to phrase this? So there's a lot of vendors out there that know the barbecue world. Maybe they don't have the financial wherewithal to have the multiple cookers like you're talking about. We're talking about, hundreds and hundreds of pounds of meat style cookers. Yeah. So maybe the night before or 2 days before, they start cooking ribs and ribs and ribs. They're vacuum packing and they're freezing, and maybe they're dunking in water. Can you do like one of those things where you're holding the frozen stuff and then boil it back up to temperature, then maybe stick them back on the cooker just for a little, extra smoke kiss before you vend them off? Or is that kind of a dangerous situation?
I don't know how you could keep up. I think, you'd still have the same issue of keeping up. And the other problem is now you're committed. What you'll see the rib burner guys do, there's a truck full of ribs right over there. On Saturday night, if it's raining and they don't sell much, they don't cook much. They can start cooking 3-4 hours before they're going to sell them. If it's looking like a great day, they're going to load the cookers to the hilt. If it's looking like a bad day or things just aren't going well for whatever reason, they don't cook them and they don't have to buy them then. If you're going to pre-cook all this stuff, you're in. You're all in. You've bought it. If it doesn't sell, you're screwed. I'd be really careful. You be careful what you're getting into. It's a business like anything else. You can't just go in the plumbing business for an occasional dip in it. You're either in or you're out. And I just think it's really risky. I mean, just because somebody asked you doesn't mean that they're going to make money. That it might be because nobody else is making any money there and they don't have any other teams. So I'd be really careful of that. I'm not a fan. I feel in that business, there's guys making money and making a good career out of it, but they're all in. I don't know that there's very many guys doing a couple a year and making much money. It's pretty risky. Now you're in Cleveland where it's big business. It's where it kind of was invented. If that's where they are, I don't know much about the climate there. I just know ribs are expensive, and if you cook a whole bunch and don't sell them, you're going to be sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think in the summertime, weather-wise, you're going to be all right. Of course, you have the occasional rainstorm or thunderstorm or like that, but of course, you've had the rib burn-off at the lakefront airport for years and years, and they seem to have really grown in pretty good proportion across a lot of fairs. Fairs here in Ohio are very big. The different counties have different fairs, and they all seem to have an associated rib burn-off tied into them, one reason or the other. But the big one is downtown at Burke Lakefront Airport, and that's when we see the huge stands. And I guess, when we talk about competition barbecue here on this show, it's typically revolving around one of the sanctioning bodies where it's not only ribs, it's the chicken, it's the pork, it's the brisket. The ribbers or the rib burners or whatever catchphrase used to describe these guys, I mean, that's a whole different arena. And from what I've understood through the history of doing the show, that's almost like a circle of its own. Everybody knows everybody. It's really hard to get in to these rib burn-offs, I guess, because if there's money to be made, everybody wants to get back there year after year to make their money. And, the competition is, I don't want to say it's secondary, but people are to make money first, probably.
Yeah, the bad ones are easy to get into. The good ones are hard to get into. They are definitely there to make money. I mean, a lot of them take it serious because there's usually a pretty good prize that goes along with the winning. And then you also get the bragging rights. But if you've ever been to one of those things, you see all the signage that it's awful confusing. You would swear half the guys there won last year. It's a little bit confusing. So they've got plenty of awards if they've been doing it for a long time. So they're not that worried about that one, but they all like to still win. They're competitive and there is a prize. I would never say that they're not trying to win. They absolutely are. And they cook good barbecue. It's not that they don't know what they're doing. What KCBS cooks do, and Memphis and May, in that matter, and Florida Barbecue Association, and everybody else, I would call them technicians these days. What they're doing is so specific and so it's not cooking a bunch of barbecue. You're cooking 3-4 slabs of ribs, meticulously watching them. It's very different than what those guys do. And some of them, like in Reno, they come to your place and they pick the 2 slabs they're taking in or however many it is. You don't even get to choose. Some places that you can cook separate ones for that. There's different ways it's handled. I played around with it for a little while back in the day, and it wasn't my thing. Plus, those guys work really hard. You ever have Tommy Houston on the show?
Yeah, of course.
And ask Tommy about it. I've seen Tommy. Tommy's a hardworking dude, and I've seen Tommy work himself to death in Reno. I'm sure he left with a pile of money, but, man, it's hard work.
Ray Lampe joining me here on the show for the Ask Dr. Barbecue segment that we do every month on the first Tuesday of every month. Obviously, this is December 2nd, the first Tuesday of this December 2014. Next question is from Gene Apicella, Ray, and this is kind of a general question, and one that might seem late, but look, a lot of people like to go, what I say, double dipping, so they do the turkey for Thanksgiving. They turn right around about a month later and do turkey for Christmas as well, and so it's kind of turkey related here. I try to follow the advice and recommendations of the big names in the barbecue and grilling industry. When I see or hear what they're doing, and it's not too complicated, I'll try to mimic it and hopefully produce the same gastronomic extravaganza that they produced on the grill or smoker. But what happens when two or more of the big names give conflicting advice or recommendations? For example, wet brining versus dry brining, brining versus injecting. If one expert recommends one method while another recommends a different one, is there a correct or right way? Is there a right or a wrong way? I
bet you that guy's an engineer or an IT guy or something.
Yeah. So I mean, the end.
They want to make
question,
it a science experiment. You know, it's cooking. There's 100 ways to cook a good turkey. I don't think there's any wrong way or right way. For me, what's key with a turkey is getting it cooked to the right degree of doneness. You can brine it or not brine it, wet brine it, dry brine it, inject it, whatever else I'm not thinking of. But if you overcook it, it's not going to matter. If you undercook it, obviously you've got a disaster. I think we spend too much time worrying about stuff like that. And if you just get your thermometer on it and make sure you get it cooked to the right degree of doneness, it'll be good. I think, trying to pit different techniques against each other. This is I teach a lot of men how to cook, and they all want it to be a science experiment or an engineering project. You know what? Yes, the answer is yes. All of those are good ways to do it. Nobody's wrong.
Let me be a little bit of a devil advocate. When you're brining does change the mouthfeel of meat. It makes it a little, I guess for the layman, or it has the potential to make it a little more kind of a mushy to it versus an injecting, or even if you don't do anything to it, if you have a basted bird or whether a self-basting bird, when it's already injected. But brining does have a potential of does physically change the makeup of the meat. So it could be a little mushy, I guess, if you don't know what you're doing. If we're splitting hairs.
Right. I didn't brine my turkey. I have brined them in the past. I got a new book coming out next spring called Flavorize, and one of the chapters is on brining. And I've always felt the same way as you. I feel like sometimes if I eat brine food, it tastes like lunch meat to me. It gets a weird texture. It gets that salty taste. What I found as I was experimenting and reading about it was brine does not work if you don't have the proper amount of salt. So you can't go with less salt. But where you get in trouble is soaking it too long or not long enough. And I think that when you get these turkeys that you really get that texture has changed and it tastes like lunch meat or whatever it is that you may have brined, it's been over brined. It's been brined for too long. I prefer to brine stuff I don't brine turkeys. I just buy a butter ball and it seems to work. My grandma did that my whole life, so that's just what I do. I know it's brined or injected or whatever, but I think people are brining for too long if they're not getting good results.
All right, Ray, last question here before I turn you loose, and of course I always appreciate the time. This one coming in from Jerry. Hi, Greg. Love the show. Spent hours rolling down the road in my truck listening to it, drooling and hungry because I don't have barbecue in the truck. I have heard a bunch of TV chefs and read in a bunch of cookbooks. If you want to serve the marinade with whatever the meat is, boil it first. Sure, raw meat has been in it. Duh, I get the question is, has that ever worked? And if so, what is the trick? The dozens of times or so that I have tried all the meat, juices, blood, etc. solidify even in the gentlest of simmers, and it looks like a stringy, gray, exploded brain from the high school video club horror film. Obviously, there's an answer set aside here that I'm just not getting. Can you please help me understand if boiling the marinade actually works or if there's something else I should be doing?
Well, boiling the marinade makes it safe. You need to bring it to a boil and cook it for 5 or 10 minutes or whatever. I wouldn't go short on that. I would make sure I cooked it, long enough so that there was nothing dangerous to it. But just because it's safe doesn't mean it's good or something you want to actually serve. I don't want to serve some funky marinade meat juice. I would never even consider it. I would always throw it away. You can make it safe if you want, but that doesn't make it going to be good. I would always throw it away and start over if I wanted to make a sauce, or make a double batch. If you want to use the marinade for a sauce, make a double batch and split it before you soak the food. Set that aside or in the fridge, and that'll be ready when you are. My experiences are exactly the same. Why would I want to make that funky meat, stringy yeah, I agree. I think it's nasty, so throw it away.
Yeah, sounds like a great idea. Never a good idea. Just make a double
Exactly.
batch and use what you're going to use for the cooking, use what you're going to use for the basting or the sauce, and there you go. Ray Lampe joining us here on the show. Ray, aside from the SEC championship game coming up, what do you have on tap?
Oh, I'm doing the big Dr. Barbecue's 20 favorite barbecue
Yes,
joints.
sir! You know you are. Look at you putting your neck out on the cutting board.
Well, this isn't anything new for me, Greg. I wrote a book called Barbecue Road Trip 10 years ago. So it's not a new thing to me. Anybody else that's doing it is doing it after me. But it's that time of year where everybody's doing their list, their countdown list, and I just figured I'd try something, and I really didn't think about what I was going to do. And one day it just came to me. I'll just name my favorite barbecue joints. So I've got the list. I thought 20 would be a good number. Then it seemed like maybe a lot too many, and I wrote 22 down right away. So I was able to get rid of 2 of them, and I'm feeling pretty good about my list. I got it in the order. I feel pretty good about it. I'm afraid I'm forgetting people. That's the only thing, or not people, but restaurants. I thought of one today that I really needs to be in there. So you may see a tie in one of the positions because I need to get that one in there. And if I think any more, I may have to do that too. But I just figured it'd be fun. And hell, I've been to a lot of these places. The only thing people are going to get mad at me because I have not been to a lot of the newer barbecue restaurants that are touted as so well. And I'm not going to try and rate a place I've never been to, although there are a whole lot of people that seem to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And where can one go to find the daily unveiling of this list?
It'll be first place it goes is on Twitter at Dr. Barbecue, just DRBBQ. And then it goes right to my Facebook pages, the Ray Lampe page, and then the Dr. Barbecue fan page. And I'll try to get it up there every morning. It's just for fun. There was no reason not to do it. It just seemed like a fun thing.
All right, fair enough. And we'll look for that over the next many days leading up to Christmas. Ray, always a pleasure to have you on. And obviously I won't get to have you here on this show before the turn of the year. So have a great rest of 2014, and we will see you in the new year, buddy.
All right, Merry Christmas, Greg. Talk to you later.
All right, you too. There he is, Ray Lampe, Dr. Barbecue, joining me here on this show. Hall of Famer and ready to rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, all right. Before we wrap up the first hour, let me quickly tell you about the longest-running sponsor of the show, the Barbecue Guru, folks. That's right. If you are a busy working professional, you're constantly on the run with kids, doing errands, quite frankly, you just don't have the time to sit around and tend temperatures, the Barbecue Guru allows you to throw on a pork butt, a brisket, a couple slabs of ribs, and you're off to do whatever it is you need to get done. Barbecue Guru maintains that temperature you set it at. Currently, a bunch of different models to choose from. Barbecue Wi-Fi. The Party Q, starting at $149 for most cookers. The Party Q, easiest point of entry into the pit temperature control device. It's a self-contained package that runs on AA battery, goes from cooker to cooker, or you can use it however you like. In the market for a cooker, look no further than the Onyx Oven. Winning on the competition circuit as well as in backyards all over the country. Fully insulated, holds a ton of meat. Accommodates half and full pans for food service and works seamlessly with any of the Barbecue Guru pit temperature control devices. Do yourself a favor, head on over to thebbqguru.com and check out all their products. If you have any questions about what to order, call them directly, 800-288-GURU. They'll make sure you're outfitted with exactly what you need to get you up and running right out of the box. 800-288-GURU or thebbqguru.com. The Barbecue Guru, a breakthrough in barbecue technology. We're back to wrap up the first hour right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, welcome back. 216-220-0966. We will quickly wrap up the first hour here. Yeah, it's not good coming back from where we were last night, Magic Kingdom. 75 degrees. And then taking a shot to the nuts for 40 degrees less. I mean, I have the Duraflame heater down here in the palatial studios, keeping me warm as we're jockeying from one part of the hour to the next. Because it's not warm. Basically that. All right, thanks again to Ray Lampe and Connie Rempe, my mom, for joining me here the first hour. We will reset that here at the top. Talk a little bit more about the havoc of the mashed potato balls that took place on my Thanksgiving Thursday in Bradenton, Florida. We'll look ahead to the second hour. Your phone calls, your emails, 216-220-0966. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. We will step away. We'll come back with the second hour. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show right here on the Barbecue Central Networks.
Hello, everybody. This is Gary Ben Chuck, host of Wine Library TV, a.k.a. WLTV, the #1 wine show on the internet. And this is BBQ Central.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan. So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude.
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 54 wieners.
But listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shitting peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
All right, just like that, we are into the second hour. Just like that. You have found the Barbecue Central Show. This is the show that talks about all things important in the world of barbecue and grilling. We broadcast live and direct from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio. It is the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evening. If you missed the first hour, shame on you. Don't worry. You can get the show on replay. You can subscribe to the audio replays on iTunes. You can get them here on the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. I believe there's some type of a feed you can subscribe to there as well. You can go to Barbecue for You, BARBECUE, the numeral 4, the letter U, at YouTube, and find the video replays. Outdoor Cooking Channel has all the replays as well. Internet Protocol Television, i.e. Roku, can be found if you download the Outdoor Cooking Channel app. Outdoor Cooking Channel has a live stream, and then you also have Barbecue Central Show archives. So there's really never any reason that you should miss anything on this show ever. Even if you miss the first hour, you can just tune right in live in the second hour, watch it live, and then go back and get the first hour at your convenience. Thanks again to Ray Lampe and Connie Rempe for joining me this past hour. You know, it's wise to learn from the mistake and to live your mistake so you don't have to live it again. So here we were, son and mom, at the palatial, patriarchal family estate in Bradenton, Ohio. Bradenton, Florida. Trust me, it wasn't Ohio. Nobody was swimming in that spot. And we're like, man, you know, we have more leftover stuffing than we thought. We have more leftover mashed potatoes than we thought. Sam Zion had great ideas that past week about he was in the oven, the muffin balls. And we're like, yeah, we'll muffin ball that times 2. We'll deep fry it. And then we'll show everybody who's boss. That's right, we'll deep fry it. So we did it, and the stuffing balls were great, and perhaps because they were more dense, they held on to the coldness more. than something else would. But in the end, they were spectacular, and they were great dipped in gravy, and they were great by themselves. And if you were extra big fatty Fatterson, they'd be great dipped in butter too, of course. And then we decided to get a little bit loose and go mashed potato ball deep fried. And as I had mentioned to Ray, and as we had talked about with my mom previous, everything was fine with those first 10 because they were coming like right out of the refrigerator and they were cold. But as the other 30 sat out, it was hot. I mean, there's, 350-degree pot of oil sitting there. Things start to defrost. Then things start to go awry when you put the defrosting potato balls into the 350-degree oil, and then you have potatoes deciding to get out of that crusty shell, and now it's in the oil, and now we got a mess.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Still good. So, the news of the day is if you have leftover potatoes, even right now, mashed potatoes, put them in form them into balls, like my mom was talking about a little bit earlier, flour, egg wash, panko, and then put them in the freezer, 30 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, and then get your oil ready to go. And then set out as many as you want to do right off the bat. Because here's what you can do. You can do 10 at a time. Probably, depending on how big your pot is, maybe 15 at a time. And then get them out there with the spider thing and put them on a cookie sheet with paper towel into a nice 200-degree oven to keep them warm, or 150-degree oven, whatever you like. Keep them safe. And then drop, 10, 15 more in. But in between, freeze them again, because we don't want the potatoes to defrost, because defrosting potatoes equal danger. And by danger, I mean as we are hovering, my mom and I, we are hovering over the grease, we notice that for reasons unbeknownst to us, the grease level is rising. Nay, it is rising at an alarming rate. Like,
Get that big stuff out of here.
You ever boil pasta and keep the keep the top on the pot, and all of a sudden it gets to that rapid boil point, and now it's going to start to boil over and start creeping out of the top? Yeah, same thing there. Like, so much so that we took it off the heat and brought it over to the stove because we were scared it was going to boil over. Forget it. Didn't understand. Started taking them out. Noticed one by one, all those little panko pods were freaking empty. The potatoes had leaked right out. Outrageous. So, freeze them. Have the mashed potato balls and the stuffing balls together. You'll be fat and happy right along next year. Here's the deal. The second half of the vacation was at Disney World. And we went to Hollywood Studios. We went to, Epcot, Saturday we got there. Epcot was on tap. And then we went to Hollywood Studios on Sunday. Then we went to Magic Kingdom yesterday. And then we flew into Cleveland just a mere few short hours ago. And here I am, beaten, tattered, and torn to do a show.
Get that big stuff out of here.
I just want to go to bed. The one thing that I have noticed, and I went 2.5 years ago to this very same place. Same places. Well, we got out the jungle safari thing we took out. It was ridiculous. Folks, if you haven't been to the Walt Disney World recently, like within the last 2 years, I don't know whether to say to go or watch out, and perhaps it is different.
Get that big stuff out of here.
What is going on with people and their use of personal scooters?
Get
When did 40% of the traveling public in Walt Disney World or Hollywood Studios or Epcot or you name it resort at Walt Disney World, when did they get permission to ride around on Hover-Round or the Rascal? You know, I get the fat bastards that are 480 pounds or more, and their sticks are screaming and yelling, holding up their own weight. I mean, I get it. I mean, you know, barbecue guys are fat people for most, you know, consider. I get that. But, I mean, I don't want to, I don't want to get out the broad stroke of justice. But just in the 2 years that it was for me when I went 2 years ago this past summer till this past weekend, there had to have been a 150,000% increase in the use of personal scooters. They're all crazy. Everybody had one. Kids and fat people and people that didn't look like there was anything wrong with them, and I'm not saying that there weren't. I'm saying that I saw you drive up on the bus and then hike your ass off, walk to the seat that you took from me, and I stood up. That's fine, that's fine. The proliferation of Hover-Round and the Rascal and whatever it is at these places, that is an epidemic. It is rampant. They are running at high speed. Look, old people in cars are weapons enough. Get them behind the wheel of a scooter at a amusement park, and they are ready to run you down to get in line. No, I'm going to see Fantasmic. I'm going to see the Indiana Jones stunt before you, whippersnapper. Cut your leg off with that. I saw one had the spokes take out rims on tires, or shins, as it were. How about just get up and walk? You know what we did at Hollywood Studios? 9.5 miles. That'll do your non-walking ass good. That's right. Public service announcement to all the barbecue brothers and sisters out there from a show sponsor, Stephen DeFranco of Stephen DeFranco Jewelers, who was also a self-proclaimed barbecue junkie. Father's Day is coming. Mother's Day is coming, of course, next year. We have upcoming Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate, the holidays. How about watches, the bowl of a brand? Why spend a ton of money if you don't have? Bowl of a watch is stylish, affordable, starting under $200. Traditional court-style, retro-styled automatic versions, chronographs, skeletons, and traditional styles fill out the bowl of a line. You have the Precisionist, you have the Accutron. Maybe you're a gadget guy. Eco-Drive technology from Citizen converts light into energy, powering your watch perfectly and accurately. Need a timer for your barbecue cooking? Some Citizens have multiple timers along with alarms and multiple time zones. Now, if you are a watch nerd like me, you have that Philip & Company watch. That's right. Many high-end European watch companies use Swiss movements from a company called ETA. Philip hand-assembles his watches personally using ETA movements and hand-picked components. Starting at $895, Phillips watches not only have an elegant European style, but they are affordable. All the Phillips watches are serial numbered and registered with Philip himself. All watches from Stephen DeFranco come with their exclusive watch performance package, which includes 1 year of extended warranty, free engraving, free batteries for the life of the watch, free polish cloth, shipping, all at no extra charge, folks. You got to go to StephenDeFranco.com. That's StephenDeFranco.com. Pick out a new watch. Call them toll free, 440-943-2700. That's actually toll. 440-943-2700. Tell him you're a barbecue brother or sister. He'll give you the real discounted price of the watch. StephenDeFranco.com, 440-943-2700. Ask for Steve. Tell him the show sent you. He will save you. 3 weeks left until Christmas. Don't screw it up. I tell you every year, don't screw it up. This year, don't screw it up. Call me. We're back with Sterling Ball right after this.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. 216-220-0966. Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. My next guest in the second hour, a captain of many industries, a successful pitmaster, rub and spice manufacturer, barbecue equipment retailer. I'm proud to say, one of the newest partners to this show. Let's go ahead and race over to the hotline and welcome back pitmaster of the Big Poppa Smokers team, the founder of BigPoppaSmokers.com, and music legend to a degree as well. So welcome Sterling Ball back to the show. Sterling, how are you, my friend?
I'm fine. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing absolutely fabulous, Sterling. Appreciate you making time for the show. As always, we know you like to hit the road and travel around a little bit. Do we get you, back at the homestead, or are you finding your way around this great country of ours?
Oh, yeah. I'm deep in the man cave in La Quinta, California.
All right. Deep in the man cave. Do you have a man cave? I've always not been a fan of that term, but, if you have, do you have a man cave?
Yes, I do. I have it's probably the greatest thing for sanity, and my wife probably likes it more than I do. Yeah, I start at 5 in the morning right here in the man cave. This is where I work. It's actually my office, too.
All right, so man cave, business cave.
I think there's about 20 guitars hanging on the walls. There's a nice crown. Got to have the obligatory Keith Richards picture. Bunch of amps. And some barbecue memorabilia.
Sterling, I don't want to ask you a music-related question, but I just turned 40 in July, so the Rolling Stones are kind of just out of my wheelhouse, if you will. Did Keith Richards do all of the drugs, or is that just kind of a myth?
That's the craziest question you could ever ask me. I'm not going to say anything, but just take a good look at him. I did work in the studio during one of the records, and I did design a guitar in the 80s that he played for about 3 years, and he was nothing but a great, funny gentleman. I love being around him. I mean, he's got gobs of charisma.
Sterling Ball joining me here on the show. BigPoppaSmokers.com is the retail site if you want to go ahead and check that out and buy yourself some stuff or look at some stuff, at least while we're talking here. Obviously, everybody asks me, what can I do to help the show? Support the sponsors of the show. That's what I always say.
I think they should cling to your every word.
Well, yes, cling to my every word, but also cling to, some of the other stuff that you have going on here. All right, so Sterling, obviously not this coming weekend, but a week after that. So that would be, was that the 13th or the 12th and the 13th or something like that?
12th and 13th, yeah.
12th and 13th. We have King of the Smokers coming up here. And look, somebody's going to inevitably email me tomorrow and say, oh, show sponsor, you're kissing his ass. But let me tell you something. Long before you sponsored the show, I had been following King of the Smokers and talking to the winners of the show and hearing all of the especially that first year. Obviously, last year was certainly a spectacular success. But that first year of getting all of that feedback in a positive way and people raving over a first...
Were you listening to a different channel than me?
No.
Well, the first year, all I got pretty much was abuse.
No. Wait a second. Wait. We are talking about two different channels. I'm not talking about the blowhards on the internet who are jealous that they didn't get the invite. I'm talking about the people that were there that had the ability to evaluate a first-year contest to come on the show and say, hey, I mean, granted it's an invite, but here's what we had, here's the services, here's the attention to detail. That's what I'm talking about. You're talking about the people that didn't get the invite, right?
Yeah, well, let me address that first off. It's gotten better every year. But, look, it's 2014. It's not the KCBS championship. I want PNWBA with, like, Wine Country. I want Ronnie and Michelle Wade, a Blazing from Texas. I think they only won 9, 10, or 11 GCs again this year. I want, Jamie Gear, the winner of Houston Livestock. And, it's about a third from the KCBS money list. And then, I wanted a drum team, so I got Shake and Bake. And I think they're a great team and they're great people. And the other thing is it's chemistry, okay? It really is a chemistry, because they're having to put on a show. We start out, actually, you say it starts next weekend, but Johnny Trigg gets here first. He gets here Tuesday, okay? And then Iowa Smoky D's and a whole bunch of the other guys get here Wednesday because they don't want to miss my Eggs Benedict board meeting at 7 in the morning. And then you're going to like this. We have a Snake River Farms is our sponsor for all things beef, and Compart is on pork, which is just awesome because they're just great products. But we always have a really casual first night welcome. And last year we had the barbecue band where Ryan Noose from the Big T's and Scott Key of Little Pigtown played with some of the top LA session guys. And we put on a concert. Well, this year I'm having a Snake River Farms Wagyu weenie roast by the pool at the La Quinta Resort.
Oh, sounds epic.
And
now,
yeah, we're going to do Sonora dogs, Chicago dogs, chili cheese dogs, and I'm going to be making some Wagyu, Snake River Wagyu corn dogs.
Ooh. Now, for the concert that you were talking about, is there a young Sterling Ball flapping the fat neck as well on that stage?
No, I might be playing on Saturday night a little bit. We've got a guy who's pretty much a pallbearer of mine and brother, a guy named Rodney Crowell, who's written some of the greatest songs in the world. He just won a Grammy with his record with Emmylou Harris. He's in the middle of doing the new Hank Williams movie, but he's flying in. And then Steve Lukather of Toto. Steve Lukather's played on more hit records than any living human. He's playing guitar. Randy Jackson's going to play bass, and I might fiddle around. And then we have one really, really interesting star coming.
Randy Jackson, like Yo Dog Randy Jackson?
Yeah, sure. He was there last year.
Former bass player of Journey, Randy Jackson?
Yeah, Randy Jackson's a great bass player.
Wow. Sterling, look, maybe people don't know this about you. You're really pretty awesome on the bass. Don't lie. Randy Jackson or you, better bass player?
Oh, Randy Jackson by a mile.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Listen, it's such a... I'll tell you what I did this summer. I played a Hank Williams song at the gig last year. Because I used to tour. I toured Australia, Europe, Japan, everything, and America a bunch of times growing up. And I'm down to about one gig a year. And David Knight of Old Hickory, I played a version of I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry, where I overplayed a lot on guitar and stuff, and they kind of liked it. Well, the band says we're taking you in the studio. So what I did this summer, in addition to cooking 25 weeks, is I made my first solo record, which comes out in a week, and the King of the Smokers people, it's going to be in a gift bag. Oh. Maybe if they want to keep stray cats away, they can play it.
Now,
but yeah, it's called Better Late Than Never.
Am I going to get a copy of that so I can use it for bumper music here on the show?
Sure, buddy.
Yes, of course.
Love to.
All right, sir, let me dial you back here just for a second. For the folks that maybe are just getting into the competition world or are doing some research on great competitions this coming year or next year, King of the Smokers is going to come up. So if you look back, this is going to be the third incarnation of this particular contest coming up here in the week after next. Second year was last year. Obviously, the first year was the year before that. What's like the brainchild? Why are you thinking I need to come up with King of the Smoker? What's the thought behind it? What did you want to accomplish with it in its first year? And I guess from there, how did you track the progress on year one and then decide what you're going to either change or keep the same year two, year three?
Well, number one, I'm sort of curious, and I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I wanted to do something that was unique, it was exclusive, and what I have to really think is that the resort we have is the La Quinta Resort. It's not the La Quinta Motel. It's the Waldorf Astoria, and the management there buys into, because I've done other promotions, they wanted to do this. And so I wanted it to be a level playing field. I wanted everybody to cook the same meat. And, really it's kind of not a level playing field because most people are cooking on borrowed cookers and the Jambo cookers are cooking on their own cookers. But, I just thought it'd be an interesting thing to do. I think it was a good branding experience for both competitive barbecue and for Big Poppa Smokers. So that's why I did it, just why I do the guinea pig too. But you got to realize I also have battleofthebands.com, which is the largest live music promotion in history. 35,000 bands. That's been going 15 years. Each year, 35,000 bands. So I've always done promotions like this. But this one is near and dear to my heart. And I have BJ's Brew House, who I do culinary development for, is the major sponsor, and they're unreal. I don't know. It's great to get the guys together. It's great to put them in that environment. It's sort of a white tablecloth barbecue contest. They are easy ups. We've got branded easy ups, white. Okay? Even the trash cans are branded. And then everything else that I wish would happen at a contest, I get to do here. And that is, the teams never want for anything, which in barbecue is hard to do. But Greg, I'll tell you something.
Yeah.
The easiest teams to work with are the good teams, the truly great teams. They don't give you any trouble. When I put on the guinea pig, there's the people who maybe think they're good are really difficult. It was really interesting. So Arlie was working with me, and Arlie's coming out for this year. He said, Arlie, do you notice this? He said, welcome to my nightmare.
Sterling Ball joining me here on the show, BigPoppaSmokers.com, his website if you want to check it out here while we're talking. Sterling, why the designation of no pellet cooker, no pit minders, or let me go ahead and pit my own, no barbecue gurus, for instance, and just go back to I guess more of a traditional way of cooking barbecue? Why do you think that levels a playing field when, some of these guys are going out of the comfort zone?
I'm not sure that levels the playing field as much as I believe that all sports control the ball, okay? Whether it's baseball, if there's not enough home runs, they juice a little bit. And I sell more Mac pellet grills than anybody in the world. I've been the number one dealer since they came out. So it's such a contradiction, and I think I'm Candy Sue's one of her biggest dealers. So to have a contest that really bites the hand of my store. I just fundamentally believe that I think, especially on the pro level of barbecue, that you should probably have to be able to light and manage a fire.
So if I'm going to just be I'm going to be argumentative just for a sec. If some of these some of these teams are not doing that,
by the way, I'll feel at home.
Good. So if some of these people aren't doing that 35 weeks out of the year, and they're going to come to your competition, does that show that they are just game and they are competitive at heart? Does it show that perhaps even the guys that you would pigeonhole as being pellet guys or draft system guys are indeed people that can manage a fire? Do you think that allows them to break out of a pigeonhole that might otherwise hold their name?
I had one guy turn me down because he said he only wants to cook on pellets, okay? And I'm not going to name his name. He's in Oklahoma and makes injections.
That's
okay.
That's it.
Anyway, you talk about the batting average guy. This year that's Travis Clark. Last year was Moonswinder, Chad Hayden. But Travis Clark had a monster year this year.
Yeah.
I mean, you look where he fits on it and how little he cooked. This is crazy. I mean, he really had a great year. Look at Trubud. Trubud cooked half the contest they cooked last year, and are still, up until last week, was still in it. So And then, Tippy Canoe, who won last year, he's coming back as defending champ. He's hardly cooked at all this year, but the defending champ always gets to come back.
In the big picture, obviously you want to have some of these top teams get together, go head to head, and it's the matching of wits and the cooking skills and all that stuff. But obviously, for you, it's always about something a little bit bigger than barbecue and a little bit more in a way to give back to charities and obviously children's charities, which are very close to your heart. So what does King of the Smokers do specifically to that end?
Well, it's almost, the elite team has been misunderstood as far as what it does. It's there as a brand ambassador program, just like other barbecue stores have. The only difference is we actually start every team with $1,000 and have them designate a local children's charity. And then we have $5,000 to the winner, whoever finishes with the top of KCBS points, and then $2,500 per category. This year it's pretty much spread between Darren and Tim. But at the King of the Smokers, we'll be giving away $31,000 to the elite charities around the country. OBR, I'm looking for somewhere. They do all the catering. Compart supplied all the pork. Everybody's donated the meat, but what happens is they're selling that and the BJ's beer. And then whatever they do, Big Poppa Smokers matches, and we're looking for somewhere around $30,000 there.
Wow.
But the thing I'm most excited about is my youngest son, Casey, when he was a 2-year-old baby, and he's 25 now, was born with bad kidneys. And he had 8 operations by the time he was 6 and died, and they brought him back twice, including getting my kidney. And we've raised money for years for pediatric kidney research, and on Saturday night, we'll be presenting a check for $1.35 million to establish the Casey Leval Pediatric Kidney Transplant Center at UCLA.
Wow!
So this is a big deal for our family.
Wow,
1.35. A lot of the money came from the last 2 King of the Smokers.
Yep.
It's my family's money, but it's different charitable events we hold out through the year. So this will be the biggest night in charity and I can never top it again. I might as well. Pack it in there. But,
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so this is about helping kids. I think Operation Barbecue Relief is one of the most amazing and great and charities, and I think it's the best to showcase what we're all about in barbecue.
Sterling, obviously you're the guy putting on this and making sure that everybody's not wanting for anything, but you are a very successful pitmaster. You ever thought about just firing up the cooker and taking part in your own competition?
I don't know why I would do that.
Why not?
I don't know. I mean, I'm really happy. I finished in the top 20 this year. I'm really happy with my cooking, but this is this guy's show, not mine. And you know what? The mix of teams are also great. And I'm busy. I said Trig gets Tuesday. I mean, it's a contest that really is about a week. And then we got golfing on Sunday, so. No, I don't, to answer your question, but I do cook Friday night. I'm cooking 6 Snake River ribeye in block form and slicing them. Mark Lambert, a sweet swine of mine, is roasting a Compart hog in our old hickory. Those I got all those best carp ones again.
Man, it sounds like it's going to be...
I cook for everybody Friday night.
Yeah, it sounds like
along with Mark.
It's going to be an absolutely epic event now in its 3rd year, coming off the weekend after this upcoming. And you can find Sterling Ball at BigPoppaSmokers.com. He is the pitmaster of Big Poppa Smokers. Sterling, really appreciate you coming on the show tonight, giving a little hype up for this absolutely prolific event that everybody's going to be looking forward to hearing the results. Obviously, I'll be looking to have the winner on the show Tuesday after. And, of course, if there's anything that I can do to help as we get closer, just let me know. Otherwise, we'll talk to you soon.
Well, maybe I'll come back with something and invite myself. Hey, can I say one thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to make sure everybody out there understands, and it's been a lot better this year, that anytime you have to pick 24 out of 8,000, it's difficult.
Yeah.
And everybody would do it different. And all I'd ask is at least a little benefit of the doubt as far as the spirit and intent of the contest.
Fair enough. Take care,
Thank
my
you,
friend.
my friend.
All right. There he is. Sterling Ball, Big Poppa Smokers. Look, he's not going to say it. And I'm not about to speak for Sterling Ball, but let me tell you something. If you are a team out there that is casting some type of a poo-poo on what this event is, what this event does, I should be going to King of the Smoke River. Start your own competition. How about that?
Get that big stuff out of here.
Find the sponsors. Find the people to pay cash payouts. Get the top teams to show up in a great place. Not want for anything. How many competitions can you go to and not have anybody say a peep? Yeah, few. Sterling Ball just happens to have one, and it's an invitational. You know what an invitation means? If you don't get an invitation, you don't get to go. Shut up.
Get that big stuff out of here.
My Lord. You don't hear me crying and whining. Just do better next year, and then maybe you can get invited. How about that? All right, folks, let me talk to you quickly about Butcher's Barbecue. That's right. If you're like me, you're always thinking of ways to step up that barbecue and grilling game. No better or easier way to do that than by adding a little Butcher Barbecue to your arsenal. That's right. We all know Butcher's Barbecue, well known for the injections, the pork, the beef, the prime injection, the bird booster. You can find it all on butcherbbq.com. Many of those products, by the way, competition standards in the flavor categories. The pork, the chicken, the beef, you got it. Now, perhaps you're looking for a go-to rub or sauce. You have hit the mother load here as well, friends. Butcher's Barbecue, a full line of award-winning rubs. One of my personal favorites is that honey rub. Of course, I love the steak and brisket rub. Garnered a lot of attention over the years with internet sauce and rub reviews, so forth. If you use the premium rub, use Butcher's when you inject. It's formulated to work with that injection. A perfect 1-2 punch to impress judges and friends alike. Last but not least, the Butcher's Barbecue Sweet Barbecue Sauce. Everybody knows I'm a bitch when it comes to barbecue sauce. I like Dave's because it's not overly sweet. It's got a nice slice of tang, just right amount of back-end heat. For crying out loud, no liquid smoke. Worst comes to worst, one of the best sauce bases you will ever use on the face of the earth. Absolutely. Do yourself a favor. Buy a box of 6. It's going to go fast. I live in a house full of women. It goes fast. Head on over to butcherbbq.com right now and stock up. That's butcherbbq.com. That's butcherbbq.com. Butcher's Barbecue. Always trust your butcher. All right, we are back with a Sweet Smoke Q-Juice giveaway segment. You want to play a game? You call me, 216-220-0966. 216-220-0966. Call now. We'll play Winery or Rehab out of the break. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs. And the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
Who would have thought this music thing was going to go this far? I never asked for this. I never asked for this fast living, the women, the whiskey, craziness. There's whiskey in my soul. Hey, Bert, let's go. I've been drifting down that open
Got to remember to turn that mic on.
Get that big stuff out of here.
That'll get edited out in the post podcast. If you want to play Winery or Rehab, you just call into the show 216-220-0966. That's 216-220-0966. We will play Winery or Rehab. You can win a prize pack of Jim Elser's Sweet Smoke Q-Juice products, which will be, I guess, the pork and the beef rub, or the pork and the beef injections. I don't think there's anything else to date yet, although there was either. Did he say it was a rub or something? He won the barbecue portion of the World Food Championships. We'll look to have him on next week, by the way. So you call in 216-220-0966. That's 216-220-0966. I have a list of wineries. I have a list of rehabs, like drug rehabs, and they might sound like one or the other. You call in. I'm going to give you a name. You have 5 seconds. 5 seconds to give me the answer, winery or rehab, when I tell you what the name of the place is. And then if you can get 2 of 3 right, you're going to get the prize pack of the Sweet Smoke Q-Juice products, the beef and the pork injection. All right, so all you have to do is call in. Don't fear. There is nothing to worry about. It's not like we're going to sit there and make fun of you endlessly if you get all of the answers wrong. We never do that here on the show. Never. Absolutely not. PayPal sending me a reminder. Of course. People, don't ask me to voice over your stuff and then not bother to listen to it. Come on, man. Nothing more, less. Kinger, call in. Come on, somebody call in. Don't be a fruity cakes. You call in. We play. It's fun. I'll even give you... Travis Clark is in the house. Travis, you should call in with some Sweet Smoke Q-Juice. Both the beef and the pork. It won the World Food Championships barbecue portion, I believe. Maybe even one more than that. We'll have to talk to Jim about that next week and see how the winning takes place. 216-220-0966. That's 216-220-0966 for your chance to win a fun-filled prize project. You know, getting back to the Disney World thing while we wait for some people to call in here. It's tough to live, you know, typically you don't live in Cleveland and think that someone is near someplace that has cool stuff by it, right? Cleveland, cool things, not necessarily associated with each other. Yeah, sure, LeBron is back. Not necessarily helping the basketball team all that much right now. We're not very good. The Browns are in the midst of potentially a quarterback change. The Indians, who knows what's going on with the Indians anymore? So it's always of value to say, well, what's going on in Ohio? Hey, do you like roller coasters and cool stuff that makes you feel like you're going to die at any second? Let's go to Cedar Point, yeah! Let's go to Cedar Point. So, when you go, because we've gone to Cedar Point years and years and years in a row. And it's the roller coaster capital of the world, and people, like, I guess there's actual people that will go to Cedar Point and search this place out as a, not only a bucket list item, but like a mecca, a religious experience for the people that love the roller coaster, because there's so many there. So you go there and you wait in line, you go on a roller coaster. You go to the next roller coaster, you wait in line, you get on a roller coaster. You go to the next one, you get the idea. There's some other attractions there, lame stage shows. If you have little kids, you spend outrageous amounts of money on to get in the park. They can ride around the Snoopy Park or the Snoopy Camp Playland. But if you're a adult, 14 years or older, 14 years is not an adult, but if you're 14 years or older, you're going there to ride the cornucopia of roller coasters there, not the least of which is Top Fuel Dragster. You have the Mantis. You have the... there's just so many. Too many today. Millennium Force, the Raptor, you name it. When you go to some place like a Disney World, you've been spoiled by Cedar Point. If you can believe it or not, you've been spoiled. Action-packed, not overly large in acreage, per se. Long lines. If you go on a relatively decent day in the summer, you're probably looking at 2-hour waits for the major roller coasters, potentially creeping into that 3-hour area. So, if you get there at open and you stay until close and you want to hit all the major roller coasters, you might get 4 or 5 in before the end of the day, maybe a little bit more. And then you go to the Walt Disney World, and you get in there and you're going down Main Street and you're just hustle, bustle. Got to get to the line. Quickly, you're realizing a couple different things. One, that Walt Disney World isn't necessarily meant to scare the shit out of you.
Get that big stuff out of here.
That was news to us. Last time we went, we were able to temper a little bit more going in this time. But there's no reason to keep the head down and run, because you're missing all the stuff that's there. All the stuff they want you to see, the shops and the little side streets and the confectionery places and all of the gift shops and the ice cream huts and so forth. And then they have great stage shows, but it's all themed, right? Which is not what it's like at Cedar Point. So when you go there 20 times in the last 10 years, you become a little accustomed to racing around and waiting, and then going on a ride and having the pants scared off of you, and then racing, saying again. I think the longest line that we waited in on the busiest day yesterday in the Magic Kingdom was 60 minutes. Drop in a bucket. If you could go to Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio, and wait 60 minutes for the most popular ride in the whole park, that would be a steal. You would be having a very good day. In fact, it would probably be like the park was getting ready to close in a matter of 4 minutes, and everybody's just left to get the F out so they don't have to deal with the traffic, and you're reaping the rewards. There wasn't anything that was over 65 minutes in line length standby. They have these fast passes that you can register for. You put on a little bracelet, and you walk up, and you boop, scan your bracelet, and boom, you just bypass that big-ass line that people are waiting in, and you're on that ride in 5 minutes or less, no matter what. And here you are, waiting 60 minutes. We gutted to the bitter end last night at the Magic Kingdom. Was open until midnight. Opened at 8. Closed at midnight. We were there at 9:30 in the morning. And the last one we went on was the newest ride, the Seven Dwarfs Mine Ride. Look, if we're rating coasters, highly overrated.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Smooth. Some nice tunnel work halfway through the ride, for the mine thing. I get it. Good for families. Not so good otherwise. Not worth waiting an hour at the end of the day. The proverbial end of the day. We're going to do this one, and then we're going to leave. So if you're going there, make your plans accordingly. No, don't dial that number.
Get that freak stuff out of here.
That's the number you want to dial, you kook. 877 doesn't even work anymore. I don't even give that number out. I don't even think it's listed on the lower third anymore, is it? Let me wait. It's some online. It's some online. I don't know what that means. Now I got to wait for the lower third to scroll. Now, in your defense, yeah, see, there it is, 216-220-0966. Come on. Keep up. I keep everything current. Keep everything current.
Get that freak stuff out of here.
So, if I can wrap it up, go to Walt Disney World knowing that there's a lot of theme stuff, not a lot of scare your pants off stuff. Singing, dancing, live stuff, good actors and actresses, cast people. Is that what they call them? Cast members. That's what they call them. They don't refer to themselves as employees or all cast members. All of them, even the people that are butt sweeping Main Street, are cast members. But there's plenty to take in if you like the scene and the magistry of all that stuff, the pageantry. The castle is great. And if you go in the wintertime, like right now before Christmas, if you go to Hollywood Studios on Streets of America or whatever it's called, that place is decked out in so many Christmas lights. I'd never seen anything like it before in my life. It is going crazy. It's time to the Trans-Siberian Orchestra music, flashing up and down and all over. I mean, if there's a billion lights, I might be shy by 500 million. It is absolutely spectacular, a 1 in a million. Somewhere in the archives. That's right. You're right, Jason. That's true. 877. Yeah, it's true. That's it. But I've changed it. All right, Milt. All right, no takers on the Sweet Smoke Q juice. Jim, we will keep trying. Sorry. But if we did it on email, nobody wants to do winery or rehab. That's it. I get it. Here we go for everybody listening. You want some free Sweet Smoke Q juice products? In the subject line, put Sweet Smoke Q WFC Champ. Sweet Smoke Q WFC Champ. Send that to me. Call that right now, Jason. See how that works out for you. See if that dials in. Send that email to me. First one in gets a Sweet Smoke Q Juice prize pack donated by Jeff Elser, sweetsmokeq.com. Also, if you've ever wanted to advertise on this show, partner with the show, rare opening right now for your enjoyment. If you go to the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com, and then you go to About the Show, there's a sub-tab that says Partner with the Show or Advertise on the Show or something along those lines. Click on the hyperlink that says Media Kit. Download that. It'll download right away. And it'll give you all the information that you would like. Cost, what you get. You can get in contact with me. We can customize a little something for you. Rare that this opportunity avails itself. But seasons change, people change, people drop off. There you go. Pete, there are some companies that have been with me since the very beginning of the live show, which will be February 7th, 2014. That'll be the 7-year anniversary of the show live, believe it or not. So if you're interested, you can get in contact with me personally, Greg, at thebbqcentralshow.com. Again, you can pick up the media kit at thebbqcentralshow.com underneath About the Show. Should be something that says advertise or partner with the show or something like that. And we will get you hooked up. And you will be part of the partnership stable that is tight and long-living and forward-thinking. Remember, this is target marketing at its best. If you have a barbecue or grilling product, who listens to the show? Barbecue and grilling people. They like it. All right, we're back to wrap up the show right after this. Stick around. Be right back.
Get in the smoke. Call 877-448-0433 to get on the air. Now, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Big B, Moonshine Band, Suburban Waste Records. Let's
All right. Welcome back, 216-220-0966. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Your two ways to get in touch with the show, should you see fit. Just to finish up on the Disney stuff, a lot of great improvements from 2 years ago to now, especially those bands, those the quick play bands, or whatever the hell they're called. It's so much nicer not having to wield around, one more piece of something and get lost or left behind in the bathroom or left in the hotel room or whatever. Here you got a wristband, you put it on, boom, you can buy stuff, charges right to a credit card that you put on file, and get into your hotel room, you can get into anywhere. Plus, get into the park with that thing. It's like the cure-all. It's great. I absolutely love the bands. Whatever they're called. The bands, I'm a big fan of the bands. Fan of the bands. All right, let's go ahead and wrap it up. All the way back in the first hour, we talked with my mom, Connie Rempe of Connie Recipes Corner. We talked about the success of Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving, the Thursday. Then we talked about the craziness of deep fried Fridays. Maybe that's what we should call it. Stuffing balls were great. The mashed potato fried stuffing ball, the fried mashed potato balls started out good, defrosted, melted into the grease, and were forever lost. But we figured out a way to remedy that. Then we talked with Ray Lampe, Dr. Barbecue. He is in town for the SEC championship game coming this weekend. He's also got a number of other things going on. drbbq.com. Number kept going to voicemail. What? The 216 number? Outrageous. And then in the second hour, we talked with Sterling Ball, creator of King of the Smokers. BigPoppaSmokers.com, the website partner of the show, obviously. So check him out. Support the show when you can by supporting the show sponsors. All of them. They're all listed right down here in the lower third. Guru, Big Poppa Smokers, Butcher Barbecue, StephenDeFranco.com, Cook Shack, all those guys. You gotta love them. We will see you back here next Tuesday with a fully locked and loaded show. Of course, Meathead will be back in next week. That's right, Meathead. If you have the raw cast iron, re-season it each and every time. Little Pam, little Crisco, and that will help you keep generations of rust-free service coming. Also, September 11th, 2001, I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.